Entrepreneurship, motherhood, marriage, divorce, dating, healthy living, and thriving, of course. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show.
Hey there, this is Tanya Barnett, the host of the Tanya Barnett Show, where we discuss the unique challenges of the 21st century women. So buckle up and get ready, sister, to get your life right.
It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya.
Hey everybody, this is Tanya Barnett, your host of the dopest internet talk show out there, the Tanya Barnett Show. I'm so glad you joined me tonight. I am super excited about my guest that I have tonight, but let me tell you a little bit about me in case you are not familiar with me. I am Tanya Barnett, also known as the Real Wife Coach, also known as the host of the dopest internet TV show out there. So without further ado, let me tell you what we do here. We talk about the issues and the challenges of the 21st century woman. So whether that's dating, whether it's relationships, whether it's parenting, choosing not to date, choosing not to have children, choosing not to get married, entrepreneurship, homeschooling. We talk about issues that affect the 21st century woman because we know today we have a lot of choices. There's a lot of things out there, a lot of distractions. And so we're going to talk about how do we navigate these things. And I'm excited that you decided to join us tonight. My guest tonight is super fantastic. You're going to leave here inspired. You're going to want to run out, start a business. I'm telling you, you are in for a treat tonight. So after this break, I'll be right back to introduce you to my guest, none other than Lakeisha Williams. Thank you again, Tanya Barnett Show.
It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya. When we talk about real things, talk about life, things the 21st century woman gotta get right. Entrepreneurship, motherhood, marriage, divorce, dating, healthy living, and thriving, of course. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show.
Hey there, this is Tanya Barnett, the host of the Tanya Barnett Show, where we discuss the unique challenges of the 21st century women. So buckle up and get ready, sister, to get your life right.
It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya.
Welcome back to the Tanya Barnett Show. I'm so super excited that you decided to stick around. I have a fantastic guest tonight. Her name is Lakeisha Williams. Lakeisha, are you there?
Absolutely. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for saying yes. I'm so honored. I had an opportunity to meet Lakeisha when I was doing my Mompreneur series. Actually, we met via Twitter, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yes, we met via Twitter, and I was just totally floored by her story, her testimony, and her business, and also her nonprofit. And so I just had to get her back here with me on the Tanya Barnett Show. I'm telling you, you will be inspired. So go ahead and get you some water, get your coffee, get your wine, whatever you need. I want you to just sit back and be inspired by Lakeisha. So Lakeisha, how are you tonight?
I am blessed. How are you? So glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, I am so honored to have you with me tonight. So, Lakeisha, can you tell us a little bit background on yourself? I don't want you to give away your business and what you're doing, but just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from San Francisco, California, but I've been here in Atlanta for almost 20 years now. I am a single mompreneur of 4 kids. So I have a 16-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. I am a homeschooling mom. So on top of running my business full time, I homeschool my youngest 2 children. My oldest daughter goes to high school. So I homeschool from kindergarten through 8th grade. And that's pretty much about Yeah, yeah.
Wow, wow. So before we talk about your business, let me ask you about the homeschooling because here on the Tanya Barnett Show, we talk about everything. And so
Okay.
I know when I homeschool my children, oof, my son he's going into 10th grade and my daughter's she'll be a senior this year. Wow. I
Oh wow.
homeschool my children, my son for second and third grade, and I homeschool my daughter fourth and
Uh-huh.
fifth grade. And so for me, it was really important for me to homeschool my kids because I found out my daughter could not read in third grade. And so from there, I cried a whole bunch. Asked the school, what can we do to get her reading on grade level? I wasn't given too much information on how to do that. And so I made the choice to homeschool my kids. So, what was the determining factor for you to homeschool your children?
Oh, the biggest thing was I have a background in preschool, and I had my own, in-home daycare for a short period of time. So I understood the importance of the cookie that not using a cookie cutter method in order to teach children. And one thing that I was realizing with my youngest daughter in school, in second grade, she was diagnosed with ADHD. And it's not a label that I typically like to believe in or feel like, sometimes we label our kids too quickly if we have a hard time teaching them. And progressively, as she was going into school in this last school year in fourth grade, it was just becoming more and more difficult for me to really have a relationship with the teachers, for them to really jump on board because I understand they are extremely overwhelmed with teaching. I know for our schools, at least, 20 to 25 kids to one teacher.
Right.
And so that's incredibly overwhelming, especially if you have a child in your classroom that is a little bit more challenging or has a more difficulty in reading and math, which is what her problem was. And so I just kind of felt like I would do a better job at that. I didn't like, unfortunately, Georgia is big, on the standardized testing, and a lot of teachers are having to teach based on that standard.
Right.
But what happens is that the children are kind of left behind. And so there's this cookie cutter method in the teaching, and a lot of the children just don't understand it. So when I would teach my daughter at home different methods on how to get through her homework, that wasn't necessarily allowed at school.
Right.
And so it became so difficult for her, and to where she didn't like going to school. If she wasn't keeping up with the class, she was dealing with a little bit of bullying. And it was just so many different things. And then now that I have a rising kindergartner, I dreaded sending him to public school.
Wow.
And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to, homeschool both of them and just homeschool, them through eighth grade and then give them the opportunity, like I did with my oldest daughter, to have the high school experience because I homeschooled my oldest, but she was like, okay, ninth grade, I want to go to high school.
Right, right.
So, and that's worked out great for her. It really did. It's worked out great, and she's blossoming beautifully. But I noticed with my youngest daughter, it became an issue where she did not want to go to school. And so I had to step in and say, okay, I know my child, better than anyone else. And I know that I can provide a better and more healthier environment and teach her in a way that she can learn easier if I was more hands-on and just did it myself. So that's what pretty much, I just went along with that. And yeah, that's why I decided to homeschool.
Wow, wow. So how long have you been homeschooling?
Off and on for about 3 years now, because I was doing it with my oldest daughter. My youngest daughter, I was trying to do half of it here at home and then allowing her to go to public school. And what I was realizing was that was just not working. And so this upcoming year will be literally the full year of me just doing homeschooling with her. And then my 5-year-old that's supposed to be going into kindergarten, I'm not going to enroll him in public school. I'm just going to homeschool him through eighth grade as well.
Wow, wow. So let me ask you this because, again, it's the Tanya Barnett Show, and we talk about things that people think, but they don't, talk about. So have you found support in the African-American community? I know for me, when I decided to homeschool my kids, the first thing I was told was Black people don't do that. And so what I found is once I found a homeschooling co-op, I was shocked by how many African-American families were actually homeschooling their children, and I'm talking about through high school. There were so
Right.
many males where their parents pulled them out from middle school and were homeschooling them through high school, and these kids were going and getting scholarships. I mean, one kid was getting, $200,000 worth of scholarship money through homeschooling, and then also the thing with, okay, well, how do you socialize and how do you get kids get the socialization? But my daughter was being bullied at school, and I'm like, okay, that's not the type of socialization I want her to have. So, what type of feedback did you get from family or friends when you decided to homeschool your children?
Oh, it has been a struggle, especially when you don't necessarily have so much of a supportive foundation. However, my closest friends and even my neighbors have been extremely supportive in this process with me. It helps that my best friend and a lot of my girlfriends are educators,
Okay.
so they understand and are very proactive in parents homeschooling their children. The family aspect of it, not so much, just because, typically we just kind of go along with things, generation after generation, we do what we were taught. And so, mom and dad, we went to school, they were sent to school, and so forth and so on. And so anytime you derive and do something a little bit different and people are not well educated on it or don't quite understand it, you'll get that pushback from people.
Right.
Unfortunately, on my side of town, because I live in South Atlanta, it's very difficult to bring that homeschooling community that you were talking about
Okay.
amongst us. It's like, hit or miss type of thing, and you see it more so on the north side of town, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it's growing more and more as I've collaborated with a lot more moms. Networking with the moms on social media has been a huge help.
Okay.
So getting into different Facebook groups with other homeschooling moms, that even helps, even if they're like where you are in DC or in California or I've been talking to moms in Australia who have
Wow.
homeschooled just to kind of get different ideas on how to homeschool. So
Awesome.
that definitely helps. But yeah, I've gotten the biggest thing is, what I don't want them to be, from our family has been the social part of it, not wanting the kids to be socially awkward. And all of that, the response I give to people is that you have to create the environment that you want for your children. So it's, they will still go on field trips. If anything, they do more than what they would do in school.
Right.
So for me, I've created my schedules where I homeschool my children 8 in the morning till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Then they break, and then they go to after school care at a daycare provider. So they're there to where they're still able to meet with their friends, play, do extra activities, all that type of thing, and then it gives me a break
Right.
to go back to work and do things around the house, that type of thing. So it's all in how you balance it. And I know for me, I homeschool Monday through Thursday, and then Friday I alternate. So one Friday will be like arts and crafts day and field trips. And then the following Friday will be small business, where I teach the kids and talk to them about entrepreneurship and that type of thing. And then we actually go and they, see firemen, they see, local entrepreneurs, they see, different people doing things. And they're able to make that connection between what mommy's talking about on paper to,
Right.
okay, this is what it looks like in real life.
Right, right. And I think that's really important too, because I know for me that was one of the pushbacks about the socialization. But my kids, I mean, since I live here in the DC area, we were at the museums. Museums are free. A lot of them have homeschooling curriculum and programming, so you can actually come to the museum and you can sit out there and talk to the other moms while your kids are getting their programming done. So it's a huge misconception, especially amongst African Americans, about homeschooling your children. But what I found is there's actually a family in Florida called the Bushes, and all of their children are excelling. I mean, I think their 14-year-old is in college now. And I think there's about 6 or 7 of them. They're called the Bushes. It's like this little joke on social media saying not the Bushes that we know. It's a new family of Bushes. However, I just think it's really important for those who are watching right now who, here it is summertime, and their kids may have struggled or dealt with some bullying or may have some learning disabilities, letting them know that you can homeschool your kids. You do not have to be a teacher. I know here in the state of Maryland, all I had to do was reach out to my county, let them know what my kids' schools they were zoned for, and then it was up to me. There was no standard curriculum, nothing. I just had to make sure that through my co-op, I turned in samples of their work. And then from there, the co-op is who issued the report cards.
Right.
And from there, I just kept those. And then when my children went back into public school, all I did was hand the school secretary their final report card from the co-op, and they went back to school. Like, they didn't miss anything. And actually, my son hated school when he went back. He begged me
Right.
for almost a month, Mommy, can you please homeschool me? And we just weren't in the position at that time for me to come back home. But yeah, definitely, I think it's just important for those moms out here who are watching right now, or you're catching us on YouTube. Make sure if that's something that you want to do, reach out. There's social media groups, like Lakeisha said. I mean, when I was homeschooling my kids, there wasn't any social media groups, so I just pretty much
Right.
called around and said, "Hey, I want to." I don't even know if Google was really big at the time. I think it was Yahoo. Is what I went through to just find, and I found a church that had a co-op. And then when I went there, I said, "Oh my God, there's so many people homeschooling." I had no clue, but I just knew I had to do what was right for my kids.
Exactly.
And I'm thankful now. My daughter is, like I said, she's a senior in high school, and she reads above grade level. She's taking honors English, so homeschooling works. She wasn't
Yeah.
reading when she came out of public school, but now she's going to be leaving public school, taking honors English. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think it's really important that we have these conversations. And so after the break, we will be back with my special guest here on the Tanya Barnett Show, Lakeisha Williams, and we're going to be talking about She's Gotta Have It, which are Tanya Barnett's favorite things. See you in a minute.
Listen Vision, listen Vision, listen Vision, listen Vision. DC's #1 recording studio. Listen Vision, listen Vision, listen Vision.
Hey there. Hey there, this is your host of the Tanya Barnett Show, Tanya Barnett. Welcome back. I'm so super excited about this segment. This is my favorite segment. I love my guests, and Lakeisha will be back with us in a few minutes, but I just wanted to spotlight my favorite things. And so today, the She's Gotta Have It is Sassy Jones Boutique by none other than Sharice Jones. And so the piece that I'm wearing today is by Sharice. Actually, I have two of her pieces on. The necklace choker that you see, that is by Sharice Jones. This thing is poppin'. So I just wanted to shout her out. Thank you, Sharice, for this wonderful, beautiful piece. It is a choker. It is very light. It is cute. And also the bracelet has coins on it as well. So my bracelet also matches the necklace. So yes, my She's Gotta Have It is Sassy Jones. All of her jewelry is fly fabulous. If you have not heard about her, you need to check her out. And I'll be sharing a special that she has at our next break. So without further ado, we're going to bring back my special guest, Lakeisha Williams. Lakeisha, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey there. All right. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about
Okay.
your business called 1126 Jewelry. And actually, I have one of your pieces on. So I'm going to show that. And it matched my outfit. So this is by 1126 Jewelry, none other than Lakeisha Jones, my special guest. So Lakeisha, can you tell us the why behind 1126 Jewelry?
Absolutely. So 1126 Jewelry is a social enterprise that's dedicated to empowering women with one-of-a-kind handmade jewelry by myself. And a portion of those proceeds also empower the women that are living in Metro Atlanta shelters here, living here in the Atlanta Metro shelters, with entrepreneurial education as well as supportive programs to give them economic independence. So it's more than a jewelry brand, but it's a jewelry brand that also gives back to our community as well.
Awesome, awesome. So that was a wonderful segue into my next question. So, what was the premise behind starting 1126 Jewelry?
I had started 1126 Jewelry back in 2012. Initially, it was kind of just a side business. I absolutely love jewelry, but at the time I was doing resale of private label designs. But then I just kept running into wanting to have unique pieces, pieces that no one else had. And so I was inspired to just, take my passion of making jewelry myself and actually just showcase it to the world. And so I started doing just local trunk shows around Atlanta while I was working my full-time job and just running it part-time. And from there on, it has just spiraled into 100% handmade jewelry. So everything that I make is one of a kind. So typically, I won't make more than one piece. If I do, it's usually like no more than 5 pieces. But every piece is handmade, and it comes with an affirmation. So when you go onto the website, or if you ever meet me in a trunk show, you pick your bracelet based on an intention. And then I followed up with the affirmation that you speak over yourself every single day.
I think that is fabulous. And I love, love, love my bracelet. The one thing that is really special, I'm going to set my questions down about this bracelet, and I don't know, Lakeisha, if this is the case with all of them, is that it spirals. So is that the case with all of your bracelets?
That is the case. That's one of the reasons why I fell in love with it. Before I used to make stretch bracelets, but what I kept running into was that sometimes some of the stretch bracelets wouldn't fit every single woman because we're all unique, we're all different. However, with the core wrap bracelets, because they just wrap on and they're made with stainless steel memory wire, this one size fits all. So it can go from my arm to your girlfriend's arm, and it'll fit comfortably. And it kind of gives the illusion of like 5 or 6 different bracelets all wrapped in one.
I love it. I think that is fantastic because I have purchased stretch bracelets from a number of black businesses, and after a while, after wear and tear, they pop, and then I'm like, oh my god, all my beads and everything. But I love this because it is flexible. It can go on anybody's wrist. I didn't know that you did all your bracelets like that. So, ladies, if you want a beautiful handmade piece. You need to check out 1126 Jewelry. I mean, I went on her website and she has some phenomenal pieces. None of them are the same, so you will have a one of a kind piece, which is fantastic. So, Lakeisha, you talked a little bit about how you're teaching entrepreneurship to women in a homeless shelter. Can you tell us what that connection is and why you chose to work with women in a homeless shelter?
Absolutely. So, fast forward, shortly after I had started my business, I was working in corporate. And the job that I had, I was laid off along with quite a few other people in our department. And that job went overseas and it went away. And then shortly after that, I found out that I was pregnant with my fourth child. And most people always ask, well, where was the family, things like that. And unfortunately, I don't have a strong family connection, family unit. And the relationship that I had with my children's father at the time dissolved. It was an unhealthy relationship, and I had to go my way, he had to go his. Well, as a result of not having any money saved up, was trying to look for a job, and everything was just came crashing down all at the same time, and I became homeless. And so November 2013, I became homeless with me and my children, and we lived in our car, the truck that I had, from November 2013 until January 1st, 2014. And then we went through a number of shelters until we transitioned out October 1st, 2014.
Wow.
And so during that time, the only way I was able to really make money was selling my jewelry. So regardless of everything else that was going on around me, I would take my kids to school, daycare every single morning, and get up and basically go hustle and sell my jewelry around Atlanta. And and while doing that, what I was finding was that a lot of the women in the shelter were asking me, how was I, selling my jewelry, helping them start their businesses and things like that. And I was actually mentoring the women in the shelter on starting their businesses. And a lot of them have, since continued to do that. And so once I came out, I was so moved by that entire experience, and it was absolutely life changing. And so I wanted to do more with my jewelry. And so I said, okay, well, let me just start, try to do like a nonprofit side. And so I partnered up with a shelter here in Atlanta and started Rise Above. And what that is a 3 month phase learning program for the women. And that's to provide them with entrepreneurial education, not only from me, but from other local entrepreneurs as well, because I can't definitely do it all by myself. And so they learn different aspects from the financial to the legal to the importance of trademarking and copyright, um, to how to market, basically all the basic and different aspects of, um, running a business and just using the talent that they already have. So a lot of the women knew how to do hair or they knew how to cook. It was a lady, she knew how to draw beautifully. And so, teaching her how to frame her artwork and then selling it on Etsy. Just all these different things that if you're not exposed to it, you're just not aware of it. And sometimes we assume that, everybody knows how to use the internet or everybody knows how to Google, and a lot of people just don't. And so, unfortunately, when you become homeless, the biggest thing that the caseworkers and the agencies push is for you just to go get another job. And sometimes, especially for single moms, there are so many challenges that prevent you from doing that. The biggest one is childcare and transportation. But if you know how to run, take the skill set that you already have and monetize on that, you can literally change your life. And so Rise Above is taking a step and just, showing agencies a different way of teaching women more long-term economic stability and giving them economic independence as opposed to being dependent on a government program. And so that's what that's about. That particular program is about.
Wow, wow. So let me ask you something. Now you're a nonprofit founder, correct?
Actually, it's a social enterprise.
It's a
So that's
social
a,
enterprise. Okay.
which is a little new. Social enterprises have been around, well, have been known to people for probably the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
You're hearing a lot more about them, and typically when you hear them, a lot of the social part of the business is done with outside countries. However, with what I'm doing, a percentage of that goes into percentage of all the sales fund the nonprofit side. So instead of having two separate entities, it's all merged into one. And so one basically can't operate without the other.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So if someone is watching right now, would they be able to donate any funds to help with the women with the social enterprise?
Yes, absolutely. So they can either purchase a jury, because proceeds from the jury go to the programs, or they can actually purchase a holistic care kit, or they can just donate outright to 1126 jury. So whichever way that your spirit moves you in order to support is very much welcome.
Awesome, awesome. So there you have it, ladies. You hear, you can help women because a lot of the women that come on here are entrepreneurs or authors.
Yes.
So here's a way to help women who are trying to rise up and get their lives together for them, their children, their families. And here's a way for you to support. So make sure you support 1126 Jewelry either by buying a piece of jewelry. I'm sure we're always buying jewelry for something or some event or someone's birthday or anniversary or what have you. This is a great way to not only get a unique, one-of-a-kind piece, but also a way to give back and also helping women just like us who look like us but have an unfortunate circumstance. And I love the fact that you said that you worked corporate and then you lost your job and then found yourself homeless, because I think a lot of times people, when they think of homelessness, they think of, a bum on the street or, someone who made poor choices in their life, whereas just life happened to you. And
Yes.
so, go ahead.
There with women that, I mean, we were all from all walks of life. There are women that have been married for 20 plus years and their husband passed away. And, you can't control how life happens. There's really no right way to live. Life happens, and the only thing you can do is just push through it and pull yourself back up. But definitely, homelessness is not what you typically think of someone just living up under a bridge. I mean, it can be the person that's driving the bus. It can be the person that's bagging your groceries, that's teaching your child, because a lot of, unfortunately, in Atlanta, the homeless population is working. So you
Right.
don't know what that looks like. And it can be just a person that you're having a conversation with.
Right, right. Absolutely. I know in my county, I live in Charles County, Maryland. I know that there are tent cities where there are actually two parents that work, but because they cannot afford the rent here in the DC area, or, they may have lost their home to foreclosure because of sickness or what have you, they're actually getting up, going to work every day, but living in tents with their children. So, I think it's really good to change the narrative about what homelessness looks like in the 21st century, that these are working individuals, that people are getting up every day and
Yes.
making it happen and feeding their families. Is just, unfortunately, like I said, here in the DC area, I mean, rent is just ridiculous.
Right.
And so you can see how that can happen. And I know, at some of the schools, their teachers are living in a home 5 deep because they can't even afford an apartment. So yeah, definitely, I can definitely see how that happens. So after the break, we are going to ask Lakeisha a do the right thing question. And it's always centered around what their business is or what have you. And so, Lakeisha, I cannot wait to ask you this question. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just kind of like a what would you do, that they do on, I think, on one of those other news stations. But definitely, I can't wait to ask you this question. So if you're out there and you have some questions or comments for Lakeisha, we're going to try to get you tuned in today so you can call in. That number is 202-642-9949, 202-642-9949. We'll see you right after the break.
Listen, vision. Listen, vision.
Hey there, family. Thank you so much for hanging around. We are halfway through the show. Can you believe it? We have been getting some great information. I am inspired sitting here talking to my special guest here on the Tanya Barnett Show, the dopest internet talk show out there today here on listenvisionlive.com. So, Lakeisha, how are you? And thank you so much for being here with us. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me.
You are so very welcome. Okay, so here is my question. All right, so this is the Do the Right Thing segment. You are in a toy store with your children, and you hear a conversation between children who are making rude comments about homeless people, and one of your children steps in. What would you do?
And one of my children steps in.
Steps into the conversation between the other two children.
Well, knowing my kids, I would. That's probably would be my oldest daughter. I could see her stepping in. I would let them probably take the range and just kind of step back and see what they say before I say anything. Um, Before I interject, I would kind of see if they can handle themselves before I interject. And then if I needed to interject, then I would.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And like I said, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just a what would you do? Do the right thing. And if we have any callers out there who want to chime in or ask Lakeisha any questions, please make sure to dial in at 202-642-9949 here on the Tanya Barnett Show. So, Lakeisha, I'm going to jump right back in with our question. What are some challenges that you see for homeless moms?
The biggest challenge is support system. Sometimes what happens is that when even though you're inside of the shelter and you're receiving that support, the shelter system itself is a very stressful environment. And so, for example, you can be in the shelter program for 3 months to 6 months. And so, for the most part, you've gotten used to that stability. You've gotten used to that support. You have a case manager. You have the community of the other women, whether you get along with them or not, but you still have that form of community. What happens is that sometimes you will transition out of the shelter and you'll go into either two directions. You'll go into your own apartment where um, typically the shelter programs will provide assistance with your rent or things like that, or you'll go into permanent housing, which is more public housing or Section 8, and that support system goes away. And so if you're on your own without any of the public housing systems like that, and you're just kind of on your own, most of those women, there's a 21% chance of you returning back into being homeless again, simply because the focus is put on you getting a job and then you transitioning out. And so it's that transitional period, especially financially, it can be incredibly overwhelming for a mother in that situation. Trying to come up with childcare, trying to just do everything basically that's fit for for two people on one. And so the biggest struggle that I've seen has been definitely the support system.
Wow. So, what are some things? Because I'm sure tonight we have several entrepreneurs who are watching this broadcast or catching it on replay. So, what are some things that we can do as a community, as women who are, say, doing it big in their respective fields? What are some things that they can do to help out our sisters who find themselves in a homeless community?
I would definitely encourage you to reach out to your local shelter and advocate, for entrepreneurship classes or programs, even if it's something that you can do once a week or once a month, where you're going into the shelters and um, teaching a class, offering, that education, that knowledge, because knowledge is power. And there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5 or working for someone else, but with the economy that we're going into and the way the state of everything is, it is so much power in working for yourself, and just being able to sow that seed into a woman and showing her a different way of living, and telling her that she can literally monetize on the talent that she already has, can be, incredibly life changing. And so a lot of the shelters just don't know how to do that. They don't have anyone to come in and run a program like that. So even if you just offer, or collaborate with other local entrepreneurs and go in and just rotate, providing classes, to the women, helping them launch their businesses, even if it's just, helping them create their website and putting it online, helping them, open up an Etsy shop, business cards, anything can be incredibly life changing.
Okay. Now I have a question for you. I had a friend who actually reached out to a homeless shelter. She was a victim of domestic violence, and she started a nonprofit, and she wanted to give back. And there was a lot of red tape. So, are there easier ways to navigate if you're someone who says, okay, say for instance, a sorority that says, hey, we want to partner with a nonprofit. How do people navigate the red tape? Because we know it's a sensitive situation where you don't want to compromise people, especially those who are getting away from domestic violence situations, where we don't want to compromise their identity or their safety. How do we navigate through that red tape? Do you have any
Typically,
suggestions?
typically with the shelters that, which most of them have deal with domestic violence, the biggest thing is the background check. Being willing to even go through that process of a background check, signing confidentiality waivers, things like that. Literally having a system in place and partnering up with those agencies to let them know that you will keep the identity of those women confidential. The other thing is for the women that are not necessarily in a domestic violence situation or feel comfortable enough coming out of the shelter, providing those services or events or anything that you're doing in a secure off, location that you may have. So if you're doing something at a church, if you're doing something, at your business or something like that, keeping of course the location confidential, but then bringing those women out, providing the transportation, and then ensuring and building that relationship with the shelters, because that's the biggest thing, is relationship building with the shelters. They want to know that they can trust you with coming in, and that you're going to keep that information, what they're doing, even their identity, confidential. And so a lot of the programs, specifically PADV here in Atlanta, will have you go through an orientation process before you can even offer services or come into the shelters. And they'll also do a background check just to ensure, make sure that um, they're keeping the safety of the women, a priority.
Wow, wow, that is great information. So if you're watching right now this talk show, make sure that if that's something that you're interested in, take these steps ahead of time. I know for one of my girlfriends, like I said, it was a struggle, but you just talked about
Right.
relationships. I think that's really important to understand that they have to
Right.
trust us to know that when we come in, we're not compromising the identification of these women or their children. And then just being sensitive, going in with an open mind, understanding, like Lakeisha said, some of these women may be in a shelter because their spouse passed away, or lost their homes because of foreclosure or what have you. It's not always someone who's made poor choices. I think that's just the stereotype
Right.
or biases that we have when we think of single moms or moms inside homeless shelters. So thank you so much for
Definitely.
educating us on that. I think that is just pivotal that we do that. So what are some next things that we could see for 1126 jewelry?
Well, definitely, I will be doing a lot more, expanding a lot more in the programs. So I have two additional programs that I offer the women that I'm asking the community to back me up and support me on. And that is Fresh Start, which is for moms who are pregnant that are in the shelters. Unfortunately, they do not receive a lot of the maternity care and the services that they need as far as essential items for themselves and for their baby postpartum. And so creating those holistic care kits for the moms and their babies. So typically that looks like a bassinet that is filled with newborn essentials and then postpartum care essentials for mom. Just to make that recovery so much easier, because it's incredibly overwhelming when you are pregnant and you're homeless and you're in a shelter and you go to the hospital, you have your baby, and then you have to come back to your home basically, in a shelter with this new baby. And so providing that holistic care kit for her is something that I'm working on as well. And then the other program is transitions. And that's for the moms who are transitioning out of the shelter into permanent housing. What happens with those moms is that typically they'll get a voucher to get furniture, for their home, but they don't have the essentials that they need to truly make that a living space for them. So things that we pretty much kind of take for granted, towels and cleaning supplies and bathroom essentials, bedroom essentials, bedding, curtains, different things like that. So we create kits. We give the mom a housewarming to celebrate her transition, and then provide her with a new home kit to bless her home and to just make that house feel like a home and make that transition a little more easier for her. So those are the other two things that are in the pipeline that I've been working on, and then just providing more beautiful jewelry.
Wow, wow. I am impressed, girl. I love it. And these are things that we don't think about. I know even when I brought my children home, after they went through those first couple of baby shower packs of
Exactly.
Pampers, it was
Right.
like, wait a minute now. So, on top of, like you said, you're coming into a shelter environment and then having to continue with that. I just think that's just beautiful that you're doing that. And then the transition portion, I mean, no one even talks about the whole transition part and needing towels and washcloths and pots and pans, forks, whatever.
Right.
So I think that's just fantastic. And so will that primarily be in the Atlanta area where you'll be doing that?
Right. As of right now, yes, it's just in Atlanta, just because I built those relationships from being in the shelters and then coming out and still maintaining those relationships with the shelters and providing those services to the women here in Atlanta as of right now. And each of those programs are just derived off of my own personal experience and my journey through that, and what I saw was kind of lacking in the different shelters that me and my children lived in. And so that's what is the purpose and the passion behind those programs.
Wow, I think that is fantastic. And so, can you give us again the information where someone on here right now is like, "Oh my God, I have to donate." Can you give us some contact information where they can donate to you?
Definitely. They can go to my website, shop1126.us, and that's 11 spelled out, the number 26.us. You can also email me at Lakeisha at shop1126.us, or give me a call if you at 678-487-9212.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So she will be giving that information out in a few minutes after we come back from this break. Thank you again, Lakeisha. Just hold tight. We will see you
Okay.
here at the Tanya Barnett Show. Hey there, welcome back to the Tanya Barnett Show. I'm so super excited, y'all. I'm sad though because we're almost at the end. Can you believe it? The time has just flown, but I am inspired. I know that I cannot wait to purchase my next piece of jewelry from 1126 Jewelry and Lakeisha Williams. Thank you so much, Lakeisha, for hanging out with us. Lakeisha, really quick before we get out of here, can you please once again give people your contact information where they can support you? If you're in the Atlanta area, can they actually come out and do anything to hands-on? I forgot to ask you that.
Absolutely. The biggest thing is helping to put kits together or also donate. So if they want to donate items to go into the mommy and baby care kits or into the holistic care kits for the new homes. So anything from, gently used, items and things like that that moms can use in their new homes or transitioning out of, sorry, or having their baby in the shelter. So any kind of products or things they want to donate, help out on the when we're putting kits together would be very much appreciated.
Awesome, awesome. And can you give us your contact information one more time?
Yes, so the website is www.shop1126.us. You can also reach me by email, Lakeisha at shop1126.us, or you can give us a call at 678-487-9212.
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Tanya Barnett Show. You have seen none other than Lakeisha Williams right here. I brought her to you live and Skyped in. I'm so super excited that you took the time out of your busy schedule because I know, as mompreneurs, the kids are pulling on you and mommy this and, you get them that mommy look like, don't bother me right now. So I totally get, that it was very valuable. Your time is valuable, and I'm honored that you chose to take some time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight here on the Tanya Barnett Show. So thank you again, Lakeisha, and we will see you around.
Thank you.
All right, and so after the break, ladies and gentlemen, I will be right back, and I'll be talking about my nonprofit, Forever Free Books. Stay tuned for this video.
2/3 of America's children living in poverty have no books at home.
I'm Tanya, founder of Forever Free Books.
A local nonprofit is meeting kids where they are.
We're a nonprofit that provides free books to low-income and disadvantaged children, as well as conduct literacy events in their communities. Our goal is to help disadvantaged children learn to love to read. And I am an American Graduate Champion.
Join us and share your champion story. 2/3 of
Hey there, this is Tanya Barnett. And so that video was from, I was honored to be chosen to be an American Graduate Champion through my nonprofit, which is Forever Free Books. And we have a fantastic event coming up on August 11th here in the Washington, D.C. area at the Harborside Hotel. And it is our 3rd year anniversary. I'm so super excited because most nonprofits do not last up into the 3rd year. And so we are here. I want you to celebrate with me. We will have free food and drinks for you. So you just show up. Make sure that before you show up, that you do register at bit.ly/F as in Frank, F as in Frank, B as in boy, 3 years. So that's bit.ly/F as in Frank, F as in Frank, B as in boy, 3 years. And I would love to be able to have you come out. I want to introduce you to my board members, as well as some of our community partners will be there. And I'm very excited to be able to celebrate 3 years of giving away free books. We've given away over 11,000 books, not only here in the Washington, D.C. area, but abroad. We've sent books to Bahamas. We've sent books to a girls' orphanage in India. We've also sent books to Compton, USA, Detroit, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, you name it. We are making sure that children receive free books, free of cost, and your kind, generous donations for my volunteers who show up at our events where we're giving away free books. We do story times, arts and crafts. If you want to learn more about Forever Free Books, you can go to foreverfreebooks.com. So I want to leave you with this. I just want to thank you all for everything, your support. I thank you for the support of the Tanya Barnett Show. I thank everyone who has just shown up, who sent messages, Facebook messages, email me, text me to say how much you enjoyed the show. If you know of any woman that is an entrepreneur or that is extremely inspirational, make sure you hit me up. Have her reach out to me at Tanya@realwifemovement.com. I'll be honored to have her. I also have an event coming up, and we're going to show you a quick graphic of that event. It's called the Art of Being a Wife Tour, and I'm doing that with Dominique Clark, and that's going to be here in the Washington, D.C. area here, July 15th, and we have some fantastic sponsors. I want to make sure that we shout them out. So we're going to show you a really quick graphic with some of our sponsors on there. It's the Art of Being a Wife Tour with myself and Dominique Clark. We'll be right back. Okay, so you all know how we do, live and in action. My engineer, he's on it, okay? So I have to give it to my engineer. He's been on it. He's keeping me going. He said he showed the graphic while I was talking, so I'm so excited because I didn't know he was going to do that. So he's just fabulous. So I'm really excited. Make sure you check us out. The link for that is bit.ly/DC wife, so capital D, capital C. Yes, it is case sensitive. So make sure you do capital D, capital C, wife. That's bit.ly DC wife. And come on out. We have sponsors. We have Coils by Nature. That is Pamela J. Booker. We have Hello Gorgeous. We have Sassy Jones Boutique, the jewelry that I'm wearing today. Yes. Every woman is going to get a free pair of earrings. I'm really excited about that. We also have Christine St. Bill, who's been doing our social media. We have Black and Married with Kids, DC Nightlife. We have Naturally Me and You, Elegantly Yours. When I tell you, you ladies, for $40 investment into your marriages and into your relationships, you're going to get well over $200 worth of product that you're going to leave there with, as well as a wealth of information from Dominique and myself. You do not want to miss this event. If you know a girlfriend who's constantly stuck in drama and she needs some help, buy her a ticket. Bring her out. Y'all can go to brunch afterwards. We're going to have light refreshments at this event because we want to fill your mind, your spirit. We're not filling your bellies up. Just going to keep it 100. So don't come talking about, girl, I'm going to go get full. You're not getting full. You will get full to take back some tools to have a healthy, whole relationship. And so I'm really excited about this event. Again, that is July 11th here in the Washington, D.C. area with Dominique Clark. It's called the Art of Being a Wife Tour. We are kicking the tour off here, and then we're heading to North Carolina for our next event. So thank you again to my fabulous sponsors. Thank you again to Listen Vision Live Radio. And I am Tanya Barnett, your host of the Tanya Barnett Show.
It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya. When we talk about real things, talk about life things. The 21st century woman gotta get right. Entrepreneurship, motherhood, marriage, divorce, dating, healthy living, and thriving, of course. It's the Tanya Barnett Show. It's the Tanya Barnett Show.
Hey there, this is Tanya Barnett, the host of the Tanya Barnett Show, where we discuss the unique challenges of the 21st century women. So buckle